Unfortunately, Spurs are stealing 2 players who wouldn't renew their contracts with us. But we do have £24 million to replace them going into season number 8. And I've been working on my backroom staff and now have 19 different scouts to find amazing players for me. And I have so many ongoing recruitment focuses sending them all around the world. Bruno Vukic is a man I'm definitely bumping into the first team, but I will be looking to loan out for first team football. Rumours are circulating around Prestiani, who I may look to offload, however his agent confirms no formal bids will be coming in just yet. Same for Nelson Viper, who is not considered to be a priority target right now. I'm still unsure what to do with Okachukwu. He's been on loan at Nottingham Forest and he's not done very well. Because I have more future strikers like Cordero here from Costa Rica who's joining soon, who is just turning 18 in August for less than £2 million. Nelson is out of contract next year though, and I'm really stuck in 2 minds now. I just had to offer him a new contract as nobody wanted to buy him and I didn't really want to lose him. Annoyingly, my number 1 target is also a striker, and what a beast too. And Spanish and almost 20 years old, so I've got to get him fast. Eventually, getting a deal done for him for £19 million up front with some add-ons. He joins my only other signing right now, who is a Czech goalkeeper who I picked up for £5 million. With these new striker signings, I'm thinking of going with more strikers up front and giving them more of a chance because I simply have way too many attacking options. We have a lot of injuries when it came to the first game of the season, but still a good enough team to try out this new tactic. Still, it didn't seem like we were put under any immediate pressure and scored via an own goal within 15 minutes. It wasn't until late in the second half to seal the win with another 2 goals from the second from Frank Jensen and the last being put away beautifully by Junior Krupi. I am purposely trying to start players like Turin more this season and he repaid me back straight away with 2 goals and a 6-1 win over Espanyol. Poacher's finish type of goals as well, just what I wanted. It took it to the 3rd game, but Gonzalez finally managed to get himself off the mark for the season with 2 goals in 2 minutes against Granada in a 4-0 win. Even though at half-time it was 0-0. We haven't played anyone super challenging yet, but what a start to the league campaign. A bid came in for Stambazi, and although looking at him he hasn't developed how I would hope, we would still be making a profit, and I'm going to reject it simply because I think with a season a bit more game time, we can easily get more for him. Transfer window now closed and we keep up our good run with a 5-0 win. We did fall behind early in the next match, however, against Almeria, but just 2 minutes later and Gonzalez is leveling things up. Even before half-time, Turin is putting us ahead. Eventually, we won 5-2, but this is where our run stops. Because in the Champions League, we were appalling, and Roma has the easiest game they could ever ask for. Even to the point where Masarica passed Porto Nketiah with an open goal to make it 2-0. Frustratingly, Barcelona followed that match and they scored 2 late goals to pinch all 3 points. Masarica put us on our way back to winning games against PAOK in the Champions League, but we're still not exactly convincing after this. Because we then drew 1-1 to Valencia in the league, still only 3 points behind Real Madrid in first place though. And that's thanks to the hard work of someone who's really impressed me lately in Lucien Toma. We started the next month a lot better, beating Real Sociedad with 2 goals from Behrens and Viper. Toma's development recently has been insane from when he first joined, and the Romanian has become a staple in this team so far this season. He scored a well-deserved goal in a win against Atletico Madrid, which was a beautiful team goal to watch. In the Champions League, we headed to Celtic Park where a goalkeeper mistake led to Peter Musa scoring the opening goal within the 3rd minute. Thankfully, it didn't take long before Gonzalez equaled the scoring thanks to Viper's assist, but a deflected free kick from Celtic put them back into the lead just before half-time. Viper took it upon himself just after half-time to score another equaliser to make the game 2-2, and within just 5 minutes left on the clock, a ball was hopefully played in by Masarica and headed into the net by Gonzalez for a 3-2 win. And we ended the month with another win in the league and a first goal for Vukic. But 4 wins from 4, a fantastic win for us, and we claim 2nd place for now, just 3 points behind Madrid still. Good start to November, but it's Manchester City in the Champions League next. Possibly the contender for the game of the season as a deflected Erling Haaland shot opened up the scoring for Manchester City. But a smart piece of play from Mallorca and a wonderful cutback for Frank Jensen makes it 1-1. On the half-hour mark though, the visitors Manchester City broke down our defence and Foden makes it 2-1. And yet still before half-time we created another chance and Gonzalez stuck the ball in the back of the net and it's 2-2 at half-time. The second half wasn't as eventful one as the first, but there were still 3 more goals to be scored, with the first coming as an own goal on the 87th minute giving Mallorca the lead. But with some really good pressing, we forced a mistake out of Manchester City and Gonzalez scored his 2nd of the game to make it 4-2. There was still enough time though for Man City to create one more opportunity, and Phil Foden got his second goal, but we took all 3 points in the Champions League. And that win made us believe that we could beat anybody, and we comfortably took 6 points from Villarreal and Sevilla in the league. Continuing our good run of form, battering Salzburg in the Champions League. And a win against Girona takes us to 10 wins on the bounce, and yet still 3 points behind Real Madrid in both the league and the Champions League. That's who we play next. And there is a reason why they are both top of Spain and in the Champions League. They have a far superior team and held 2/3 of the possession in the game, taking the lead in the 7th minute. We still have a bit about us though, and just on the stroke of half time, Luis manages to pick up a surprise equaliser. But in the second half, there wasn't much that we could do to the defence of Real Madrid, and eventually they broke us down and Kolo Muani scored the winner. Just a small blip though, because we were back on the winning run right after an away match in the league with 2 very questionable lucky goals. A lot of rebound shots coming off the bar, shots being saved by the keeper, but some fantastic finishes to eventually find the net. And our record speaks for itself. The only loss since September, and right now Real Madrid are unbeaten and destroying every and all teams in their way. January though, and bids are coming in for Prestiani, who hasn't played much at all since we lost that winger spot in our tactic, and after negotiating for £20 million up front, is accepted by Porto. The board have also given me a sizable transfer budget too to start making some more signings. And on my shortlist is Mehmet Kaya, who has only just signed a new contract in the summer, so wasn't interested in the move back then, but is definitely interested now. We get a deal done for the young Danish midfielder. Takata has made his decision to leave at the end of next season on a free transfer, so I'm going to try and cash in on him right now, but he's really suffered thanks to the development of Toma and watched from the bench for most of the season. Not what I was expecting to come through in January, but a huge offer landed on my desk for Nelson Viper from Manchester City. And I think it's time to sell and try and develop my own strikers. Because if we remove Viper, we've got a lot of options. Gonzalez has been fantastic. Krupi can also play there if needed. Turin just needs a little bit more game time, I think. And we still have Cordero and Rene Pedersen to start bedding in. Not to mention the B players on our side like Drejan, who has been banging in goals. So I dropped Viper for the first match of the year against Levante, and we still created a lot of chances, and we were as clinical as usual. I think we'll be okay without him. Another injury for Behrens though, which is very worrying. And we say goodbye to Nelson Viper, who has served us well, and that contract in the summer was a good move. As well as Prestiani, 2 incredible players who have taken us so far in this youth to go journey. More injuries followed though and became a bit of a problem for us, however. And at the end of the month, Krupi also picked up a minor injury too. So I needed to start bringing in some recruits, and that's exactly what I did on deadline day. 2 players who can come right into the matchday squad without demanding starting positions. January on the pitch went really well, with the only loss being a Super Cup match and the only draw being away to Bayern Munich in the Champions League, which qualifies us in the top 8. In the league though, we continue to rotate our side because of the injuries, but still managed to pick up a lot of wins that maybe in seasons past we would have dropped points in. We were eliminated from the Copa del Rey, however, in the quarter-final after failing to score past Sevilla. But of course, with the amount of absences, it was a bad time to face Barcelona, even though we have been ahead for them for the majority of the season in the league, and they punished our mistakes to go 2 goals up. Behrens did pull one back to put up a bit of a fight against the Catalan Giants, but João Pedro's goal sealed our fate. And our response against Valencia was fantastic though, as was the rest of the month, with a 3-0 win and a 6-1 win, but it's Liverpool next in the Champions League round of 16. And the first leg was played at Anfield, and we surprisingly handled the occasion very well, considering we conceded from Ryan Gravenberch's goal just after 6 minutes, patiently waiting until early in the second half before Thomas scored, and we take a 1-1 draw to the home leg. And this might have been the performance of the season so far, as we completely dominated Liverpool, scoring 3 goals without giving them a sniff as we progress through to the quarterfinals against the French champions PSG. Before then though, we are still pushing Real Madrid to the very end in the league, holding on to our second place spot and beating their Madrid rivals Atletico 3-0 at home, with 2 goals from Mateo Torrin, who's really stepped up since Viper's departure. 2 more wins followed, and we have Villarreal to face before PSG, and unfortunately Real Madrid continued their good run of form as well, holding us off from that top spot by 4 points and remaining unbeaten. But we don't lose hope, and we batter Villarreal 3-0. First leg in Paris, and PSG think that they caught us out and take the lead into half-time on the 46th minute from a corner. But we went right down the other end, cross the ball in, and the Danish midfielder Frank Jensen finds the net. And we once again take a 1-1 draw in the away first leg of the Champions League to our home leg. Before the second leg though, we were rocked and lost 3-2 to Sevilla. However, Mbappe chopped down Kawasaki early in the second leg of the Champions League in their visit to Mallorca, and he's seen a straight red, and rightly so. And we took full advantage of the extra man despite giving PSG 60% possession across the match. Rafael Luis scored within the first 5 minutes of the red card, and in the second half, the overloads across the pitch were utilised down the left brilliantly, with Victor Arce finding space to score a second. Just like Liverpool before them, PSG came to Mallorca with a 1-1, and they left on a 4-1 loss on aggregate defeat as we sail into the semi-finals. A couple of wins and a couple of clean sheets against Real Madrid and Girona, and we now face the unbeaten leaders, Real Madrid. As a new hero emerged in a red shirt, the young Costa Rican striker Diego Cordero, who opened the scoring just after 2 minutes. And he continued to be in the right place at the right time and scored 2 more goals to claim the match ball and the man of the match after his bump into the first team, following the 15 goals he scored for the Mallorca B team this year, helping Real Madrid to their first loss of the league campaign at the Bernabeu. We played Manchester United in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final at home, which was a change for us this season, but one thing that didn't change was the result. For the third tie in a row, the home fixture in the Champions League knockout stage was won by Mallorca 3-0. We are on fire in this competition. Not only are we in the driving seat to make it to the Champions League final, but we have now also overtaken Real Madrid, who lost again last month and fall into second due to the results between teams being in our favour. However, tragic news struck as Junior Krupi damaged his cruciate ligaments against Manchester United and is expected to be out for up to 8 months. Absolutely devastating news for the lad who has been so amazing for us in the last few seasons. And the cracks beginning to show following this, with a loss at home without scoring a goal in La Liga, and gifting Real Madrid to that top spot back. The threat of coming so close and throwing it all the way in the Champions League as well was squashed when Jensen scored within 3 minutes at Old Trafford. They did put up a fight though after scoring right after halftime through Garnacho, but a 94th minute winner sent us through to the Champions League final, where we will either face Napoli or Manchester City. Back to La Liga matches though, and what should have been a comfortable game for us at the top of the table against Osasuna turned into a nightmare for our title hopes, conceding the first goal. We pulled it back to 1-1, and as the time ticked down for the break, Gonzalez then smashed the ball home to make it 2-1. Just after the hour mark, it was a young Costa Rican Cordero who found the net to give us what we thought would be all 3 points. But that was until Amenda scored for Osasuna in the final minutes of the game. And that 2-2 draw cost us top spot as Real Madrid lost another match at home to Sevilla. A much more comfortable victory for us against Celta Vigo followed, once again going behind first in the match though. But with both Real Madrid and Barcelona winning, the title decider goes down to the final day with just 2 points between us as we travel away to Levante. And yet again, we were the fault of our own downfall as we conceded within 10 minutes of the match. We were missing key players such as Behrens, Frank Jensen and of course Krupi, but Torren was on a mission to make sure we stayed with hope, and he scored an equaliser. Real Madrid had the fairly easy task, however, of beating Huesca at home, who gifted their top scorer Muani the opening goal in the 35th minute. Back to the Levante match, and after a goalkeeping howler, Turin scored a second to give us the lead. But just before half-time, Levante scored a penalty, and we had nothing left. We couldn't break them down, and Kolo Muani scored a second late goal to seal the La Liga title for Real Madrid. Even with Barcelona ready to pounce, we wouldn't have won the title with a 6-1 win. Anyway, I guess it's hope for the Champions League final. So with that disappointing end to La Liga season, hopefully we can win the Champions League against Manchester City. But before that, let's have a quick development dive into the team. And I mean quick, let's breeze over it. With, of course, the selling of Viper and Prestiani, we needed people to step up, and that's what this man has done. Gonzalez, 28 goals this season, probably not as many as what Viper would have got, but of course Viper was playing for half of the season as the main striker. This guy now, when he beats the offside trap, he learns how to do that. He's both-footed, very fast. Just need really his composure and finishing to come up, but he's only 20. Let's give him a bit of time. I'm gutted for Krupi. I really hope he recovers from that because that's a big, big injury. Matteo Torren, we need him to step up as well. That natural fitness is the one thing that really worries me. And I cannot grasp
what he's good at. Because yes, he's very good at finishing, but his composure and off the ball and his pace is not fantastic. So I don't know what type of striker to really bring him into, or whether we need to actually develop a different striker. Frank Jensen, of course, is one of our best players. He's absolutely phenomenal. He continues to be amazing. Same as Yannick Behrens. What a season he has had as well. Absolutely clinical for us, and that hopefully he's voided the amount of injuries that he got last season, and he continues to do that. He was out for 2 months with a torn hamstring this year, but that's his only injury this year. That's not as bad as what it was the previous season, which of course was a really bad one, to be fair. Lucien Toma is the guy that I really want to highlight, though, because his development has been absolutely outstanding for us in the last couple of seasons alone. But since we actually got him, if you can look at that, a lot of 4s coming up there, a lot of 2s, and a lot of 3s. Everything about Lucien Toma's game has been fantastic, and that's the reason why Takata's actually wanting to leave, unfortunately, who's down here, because he's only played 14 starts, and he is going to be... He's refusing to sign any contracts, and that's absolutely fine. Morgala might be one that I actually look to sell at the end of the season. He's 26 now. It could be time to move him on. He's been phenomenal for us, but we do have players who are ready to step up, like Bruno Vukic, who I've integrated into the first team, but he hasn't played as many games as what maybe he would have hoped, but 12 starts, 11 appearances off the bench. He's played a big part still, really. Masarika is phenomenal. What a pickup that is for a 21-year-old. £4.6 million. Absolutely insane. Power up, I'm concerned with, because he's not developing as much as what I thought he would, considering how quick he got, well, how quick he developed when we first brought him and Frank Jensen into the team. That's what I'm really concerned with. Same as Rene Pedersen, the Danish 19-year-old now. I don't know whether we're going to be using this guy going forward. I might give him a loan period of first team football and see if that bumps him up. I don't know, though. But we've got a lot of Danes in the side, because Mehmet Kai has now joined, and he looks great as well, only 18. I think maybe a loan deal. I mean, he's been playing for the under-19s quite a lot, so he's got 14 games for them. He only joined in January anyway, so I really hope that he can progress and turn into something special as that midfielder who plays with both feet, and I really like that. He plays in loads of different positions, really. But yes, there's a lot of options that we've got coming through, and I do think if we look at the development centre and the loans, people have been asking about Okechukwu. He is still here. He's just not scoring a lot of goals when he goes out on loan. 5 goals there on loan at Wolfsburg, 3 on loan at Nottingham Forest. They might be playing him on the right-hand side. I might give him some first-team football this season instead of Turin. I might loan out Turin, and I might play Joseph Okechukwu and see how he does in the first team, because he looks a lot better, the better type of player that I like to use anyway. So Kenji Sakamoto, obviously we signed him ages ago. He's now starting to finally develop, 23 years of age. Of course, he's a goalkeeper, so we can wait for him, because goalkeeper-wise, I think we've actually struggled, really, to find a really good replacement that will actually finally replace, of course, David Medina, who is an amazing, we've got an average goalkeeper, if you ask me. So that might be something that we look for going forward in the next couple of years. But in our development, we can see there's a lot of players who's going to be bedding into the first team in the next couple of years. Cordero's played a big part this year, the Costa Rican already, and scored quite a few quite crucial goals, if I'm honest. Drajan is, again, another player that maybe needs a loan move away, because there's a lot of strikers now in the youth academy, so they're going to be fighting against each other, because again, there's another one, Ndai and Nicolas Jimenez. So many strikers. We need to give them game time. But I guess, hey, it's Champions League final time. That's something to get excited with.